Pretty Girl Club. Welcome back to the Decentering Men series. And today I want to talk about how most men want employees, not wives. So, you guys probably saw the clips from Umar Johnson where he said that women should pay their boyfriends $700 a month to invest in their business ventures with no guarantee of getting a return because there are no guarantees in love, right? So, this actually proves my point that men are the actual hypergamous gold diggers. They are also youth diggers, beauty diggers, womb diggers, and in some cases, even whiteness diggers in terms of what they want from their relationships. I've talked on this channel a lot about how most men utilize marriage as a stepping stone to build their financial wealth and to basically increase their own standard of living. And then they turn around and get mad and call women gold diggers for wanting to do the same thing. But here on this channel, this is a Decentering Men channel, so I recommend that you do that stuff on your own without having to deal with the arguments that come with marriage, the stress, the cheating, his porn addiction. We know that the majority of OnlyFans subscribers are married men, so you're just better off living in a middle class lifestyle, or damn near better off living in poverty, honestly, than dealing with the emotional turmoil that you're going to be facing in a lot of marriages to these men. And I also want to talk about Umar Johnson using this $700 talking point that you should be willing to give him $700 a month to invest in his business ventures. But it's like, if he is so broke and his credit is so fucked up to the point where he can't even get access to an additional $700 a month, that is not a man that anybody would want to marry anyway. So you're telling me that women are supposed to believe that he has what it takes to be a good business owner and a good boss, but he can't even get access to a $700 a month credit line? He can't even get access to business credit? He can't even go deliver pizzas on the side? $700 a month, you can make that working as a bartender on the side. So why is it that when a woman wants someone to invest in her business, she's automatically like a 304, she's a gold digger, or she needs to figure it out? She's basically being a dusty Anna. But then when a man has those same behaviors, oh well, you're being a white supremacist by expecting a certain lifestyle. If that's not internalized anti-blackness, I don't know what is. I mean, Dr. Umar basically admitted himself that by tying your life to a black man in particular, that basically you're going to be struggling and that you're going to have struggle love. So essentially, you will never have the same level of a soft life as people who are living to this quote unquote European standard. First of all, that's an ignorant way to describe it. Like, why is it that wealth can only be the European standard? So, first of all, that's actually an inferiority complex right there. So, it's very clear just from those clips alone that Umar himself has an inferiority complex. I'm not super familiar with a lot of his content, but I have seen some of the stuff that he has said. All he's doing is he's just repelling women away from black men in particular. Like, if Umar Johnson is any representation of what black men are like in the dating market, I want nothing to do with it. I'm just being completely honest. But most men want a woman who has money, or they want a woman to invest money into him because he needs you to build him up. He doesn't believe that he has the ability to get access to that additional $700 a month. And it's like, okay, if you don't even believe in yourself and you don't even believe in your own ability to attract an additional $700 per month, why should I believe in your ability to do the same thing? So do you see how they don't want you to place expectations on them, but then they place expectations on you? And for a lot of these hotep guys, for these black guys who are making all of these talking points about how black men are supposedly like a great choice, okay, where are the examples? Because they're acting like their counterparts, unambiguous black women, where they talk so much about how they're such a prize, how all these people of other races are attracted to them. Have you guys noticed that black men do the same thing that black women do? You know how black women, they'll come online, they'll be like, oh, the white man prefers me more because he likes my natural hair and he likes my dark chocolate skin tone. I see black men doing the same thing. They'll be like, oh, all these Latin American women, they want to date us. All these women from other countries want us. It's like, okay, so since you're so desirable, first of all, why is your standard for desirability based on how many non-black people are attracted to you? Okay, so that's number one. And then number two, if you're so desirable, why would you even care about who chooses you or not. You shouldn't even have to come online demanding that random women pay $700 to invest in your business because I thought you were already wealthy. I thought that you guys already had a builder's mindset. So do you see what I mean about how men are always looking for a woman to be their slave, to be their employee? And by the way, my decentering men content is not just about decentering black men. This content focuses on decentering men in general because I've just noticed this overarching theme to where a lot of men, they want to trap you in a 50-50 relationship so that they can get access to 50% of your 100K a year salary. Like, I've noticed that they especially do this to educated women. So a lot of you guys on this channel are educated women, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have had this experience where you'll attract these men who are desperate to get a hold of your assets, or they're desperate to get a hold of your 50% so that he can increase his lifestyle. Because a lot of these guys who are making 100K a year, 200K a year, a lot of these guys haven't purchased houses yet. You know why? Because there are actually a lot of articles that talk about how single women are the main ones who usually buy houses more than single men. And so a lot of guys, they're not even wanting to buy a house because they don't want to do the upkeep. Obviously, they don't want to pay to get the lawn mowed. They don't want to have to pay for like remodeling and stuff. No, they need a woman to come in and do 50-50 and then also work as a free interior designer and make that house look nice so that it can be appraised later on and they can sell it for a profit. So it's like a lot of men are not even capable of doing this building themselves, but then they want to turn around and require the woman to be a builder. And I've also noticed some more hypocrisy with men where it's like, okay, they don't want a woman who is a gold digger because they say, that's bad. She's a 304. But then they don't want a woman who has more money than him. They don't care about her money or they don't care about her education. And it's like, okay, so which one is it then? Just admit that you don't like women. Just admit that you want to use women as labor. There was another article and she was talking about how a lot of men, they will use you for either lust or labor. So this Umar Johnson talking point of women paying their boyfriends $700 a month to invest in their businesses, that means that he's using her for her financial labor. So he's being the sugar baby in that case. He is being the hypergamous one in that case. She's essentially paying for a boyfriend, or she's paying to kind of fix his image, very similar to the Simone Biles dynamic. You know, Simone Biles and her husband, how Simone Biles talked about basically going broke or having not that much money because she is the one who's paying for that new house that they were getting built. She was the one that was showing up to the construction site. She was the one that was directing them, making sure that everything was going well. She's the one that's investing the most money. And so for a lot of these marriages, a lot of men are not coming into marriages thinking about what they have to offer or what they can give to a woman. They're coming into the marriages actually saying, wait, what do you bring to the table? How much money can you give me per month? And so if I had to choose between poverty versus paying a monthly fee to have a boyfriend, I'll take poverty for 200. A lot of men are actually financially codependent. Okay, so that means that their financial behavior relies on the woman's financial habits. And so that's why he wants you to pay $700 just for him to start a business or just so he can explore his business ideas. So he didn't have the time to do that for the past 35 years of his life. He didn't have the time to do that for the past 40 years of his life. But suddenly, when you come along, oh, now all of a sudden he wants to start a company. Now all of a sudden he's got all of these grandiose dreams. And suddenly he's got this big vision and he wants you to invest in it. You know why? That's actually due to financial codependency. He believes that he can go for that thing now because he has you to bail him out. That's why he's doing that. He knows that he's got a woman that is bailing him out of 50% of the bills. And so he has less responsibility now. Or if he's paying the same amount per month, but now he gets access to a more lavish lifestyle, now he gets to flaunt his lavish lifestyle in front of a side chick. Now he's got more money to save on the side so that he can pay for Sophie Rain's OnlyFans. So congratulations, because most of the 50-50 wives are actually funding the lives of OnlyFans girls. So a lot of men, they're not able to be financially literate on their own. A lot of them are very bad at paying off debt. A lot of these guys, they will actually have hidden debts that you won't even know about until you get into the marriage. And so they're hoping to use your emotional attachment to him so that they can get you to give them money. They want you to upgrade their lifestyle. And like I said, a lot of these men expose themselves because they come online all the time talking about how women hit the wall. Okay, so if you get into a relationship with him and you pay $700 per month to invest in his business, and then you do that for the next 10 to 20 years, and let's say he becomes a multimillionaire, now you're 45 years old and you look bad and you're stressed out because you didn't have that $700 to get your Botox or to get your gym membership. All of your extra money, you were giving it to him so that he can invest in his business. Then they'll leave you and chase after the women who did spend $700 per month looking good. They spent $700 per month on themselves or becoming desirable or building up their OnlyFans page, for God's sakes. But another sign of financial codependency is, have you ever noticed how a lot of men will actually avoid financial conversations? Why? Well, it's because he is not transparent about his finances. He doesn't want to tell you what he's spending his money on. He doesn't want to tell you his spending habits. He doesn't want to tell you his debt. He only wants to tell you his financial goals if you are planning to contribute to them. And so a lot of men, they actually refuse to discuss budgeting, saving, or investing. So that actually creates a power imbalance. So he wants to have complete control over where the money goes. And especially if they start giving the talking point of having a joint bank account to where it's like, you make money as a woman and then you just deposit your money into this joint bank account abyss and you have no idea where the money's going. A lot of times that creates a power imbalance. But then at the same time, if you keep your bank accounts separate, then suddenly he wants to be in your financial business. He wants to see like, oh, wait, what is she spending her money on? How does she have $4,000 in her savings account? Like, what's going on there? So it's like, you can't have your own bank account because then he views it as like, that's not trustworthy. But then you have to have a joint account and then he gets to control it. So do you see the hypocrisy? I saw a stat that talked about how men are, I think, 14 times more likely to go to jail than women. So a lot of men have these reckless behaviors. It could be gambling. It could be reckless borrowing. Like he borrowed a whole bunch of money. He can't pay it back. Not to mention the fact that when you start a business, you are going to have to do tax planning. You're going to have to pay for taxes. And a lot of men, they have either been to jail before because of how they spent their money. And let's talk about black men in the case of Umar. A lot of men have either been to jail before because of how they spent their money in the business, or they've been to jail because of stealing somebody else's money or stealing someone else's assets, or he's on his way to jail with how he manages his money in the business. So, I mean, let's just be honest here. A lot of guys, they're not even good at tax planning. They'll cheat on their taxes and shit. They'll run from the IRS. They won't even pay their child support. So you're telling me that the same gender who had to have laws created, other men had to write laws because so many men were going out and having babies and abandoning those children, to the point where all of these other men sat in an office. A bunch of white guys sat in an office and said, okay, we've got a problem. There are millions of men right now who are having babies and abandoning them. So we need to write laws about how to hold these men accountable for all of the children they create. They need to be held financially responsible. You're talking about that gender? So I'm supposed to trust that gender who doesn't even want to pay to take care of their own offspring. That legacy that they're so obsessed with. Like, oh, that's how I create my legacy. Okay, so these guys are out here creating a quote unquote legacy, but then as soon as the mom stops sleeping with him, then suddenly that legacy is thrown out the window and he abandons those children, both emotionally and financially. That gender, you're talking about those guys? We're supposed to be giving those guys $700 per month? So it's like men are notorious for having financially irresponsible habits. First of all, let's talk about who runs the United States. Let's talk about who runs the capitalistic system. Who created capitalism? Men. Who runs the systems of first world countries, second world countries, third world countries? Who runs all of their financial systems in general? It's men. And look at all of the financial problems in the world today. Look at all of the injustices. Who is the main gender that employs people or enslaves people from other countries and pays them pennies to the dollar and then sells those same items at a markup of over 100% so that he can pocket the money? Which gender created that system? Oh, that's right, men. So you're telling me that the gender that historically has been known to financially exploit damn near every person they've come into contact with, now all of a sudden, in order for women to prove their love to these men, we have to now give them $700 per month. we now have to invest in his business ideas. Look at the history of men's business ideas. Who runs the porn industry? Men. Who are the owners of OnlyFans and Pornhub and all of these sites where, the ex workers are working? Men. Who are the main ones who own the strip clubs? Who are the main ones who own a lot of the dating apps? Men. So, men in general have a pattern of exploiting women or exploiting other human beings in general so that they can make a financial profit. So, they will use whatever they need to use in order to make that profit, whether it's a woman's sexuality, ex workers, whether it's an employee or someone working in a sweatshop, or whether it's his own girlfriend. Okay, so why should we as women trust the group of people who have literally been known to create a false financial system in the first place? Let's talk about that. Who created the petrodollar? Who created our financial system that we live in? All of this was created by men. Who lives their lives based on financial hierarchies? Who is more likely to tie their self-worth to their net worth? Oh, that's right, men. So I find it laughable that you've got a guy who's a therapist coming online thinking that women are stupid enough to actually take what he says seriously and to actually continue to financially invest in the gender who has been universally known to exploit almost everyone they come into contact with, especially financially. And they literally create entire financial systems that exploit millions of people. In fact, they will inflate the financial systems. Who is known to manipulate the stock market? Who is known to print money recklessly or to borrow money recklessly from other countries? Which gender is more likely to be in charge of those systems? Oh, that's right, men. But another sign that a lot of guys are financially codependent is that they disregard other people's financial boundaries. So they're going to disregard your financial boundaries as a woman. So basically, they'll have this mindset of your money is now my money. But then as a woman, if you say that about him, like, hey, his money is my money, then suddenly he gets mad and says you're a gold digger. So do you see the gaslighting? And by the way, any man who says that like he can't offer a woman a good life because of racism, I mean, again, that's also laughable to me because racism that doesn't guarantee poverty. Like just because people are racist, it doesn't mean that like, oh my god, it's impossible for you to be middle class. And also, you know what, even if racism does hold you back, even if your blackness is a handicap, which it's not, but if you truly believe that, if your blackness is such a handicap, why would women want to tie themselves to you then? Why would they want to tie themselves to someone who basically admitted that her lifestyle will be financially handicapped, their bank accounts will be financially hemorrhaging for the rest of their lives, they will never get the same level of a retirement? Well, she might as well just stay single then. I mean, if she's going to be living the same lifestyle, or if she's going to be living a worse lifestyle by tying herself to the man, and we know that statistically that is usually the case because a lot of married women, they end up being these 9 to 5 boss babes when they're at work, but then they come home and they still have to do the traditional housework type of thing. So it's like these women literally have less free time. In fact, there was an article that talked about how single mothers actually have more free time than married mothers. So you're telling me that we've got all these articles to back up the stats. We've got thousands of years worth of history to show us the patterns in a lot of men's behavior around finances. Yet suddenly, because I'm in love with Tyrone, I'm supposed to give him $700 a month. And so, do you see this pattern that a lot of men have where they're always building on the back of someone else? This is not just a black and white issue. This is not just a racial thing. This is a gender pattern. I've noticed that men of all races do this same behavior. Doesn't matter if he's white, black, American, Indian, Muslim, Christian, a lot of religious guys, they have a very similar behavior as well. The churches that you're going to, those churches are ran by women. Who do you think is doing the AV system, the PowerPoint system, doing the designs for their graphics, or making the food that they serve after the church service, or like volunteering? Who do you think is teaching in the children's ministry, in the youth ministry? All of these religious infrastructures as well. Men are the face of it, but women are the ones who are really upholding it. So the women are the ones who are essentially working as slaves and free employees in every single system across the board, whether it's financial, whether it's spiritual, even in the family structure that they try to promote so much, this patriarchal family structure that they're promoting. Okay, so that's basically the whole family revolves around the man. The man is the head of the household. A lot of religious teachings, they actually help to brainwash women into getting into that position of being that free employee. They will tell women that you are his helpmate. That is your purpose on this earth. You're called to be his helpmate. That's why God created you. It's so you can get married to a man, live with a man, birth a man's children, and help that man with his purpose. So, do you see how male centered that actually is? In fact, they're even worshiping a man, obviously, or worshiping a male gendered god. And so a lot of these men, they actually lack the ability to be financially independent. So that's why they need the woman to go 50-50. He knows that he can't afford a house without having another woman come in and give him the 50-50 down payment. He can't afford that down payment on his own. He's not good at saving. He doesn't know how to save 20K for a down payment. He doesn't know how to save 30K for a down payment and, get ready to pay the taxes on that house and the closing costs and stuff. He's not that disciplined. A lot of men can't even go more than 30 days without jacking off to porn. So you expect me to believe that he's financially disciplined? Finances, if you can't even control your own bodily functions, if you can't even control your own thoughts, and your own dick. What makes me think that suddenly you know how to control an internationally powerful currency called the US dollar? So you've got all these weaknesses all over the place. A lot of these men, they'll be fat, out of shape, bald, yellow teeth. Okay, so you can't even control brushing your teeth in the morning. You can't even go to the dentist on a regular schedule. Yet I'm supposed to invest $700 in your business because supposedly you're going to be the next Jeff Bezos. Yet you have nothing to show for it. And also, even Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and all of those other guys, even those guys had to do some form of exploitation because we live in a capitalistic society. So, which one is it? Are you a broke man who's at the bottom, quote unquote, or are you exploiting others by utilizing the capitalistic system we live in? Because there is no in between. You have no choice. It's one or the other. So, pick a struggle. Which one is it? So if you're going to exploit people in order to get wealth, who are you planning to exploit? Because it sounds like you're trying to exploit your own girlfriend. It's like, well, damn, he didn't even hire employees. He just wants somebody to work for free. So now the woman is serving as his free assistant, his free event planner. She's doing his calendar. She's, investing this money into his business. She's basically funding all of his dreams. And what is she getting in return? Because you guys do know that the average business takes about 5 years for it to even be profitable. So you're telling me that she has to invest $700 per month, and then it's most likely not even going to be profitable for another 5 years. So what, from age 30 to 35, she's investing thousands of dollars into this business with no guarantee, quote unquote, that it's even going to be successful. And I'm supposed to believe that that's a smart investment. Meanwhile, I could have been investing money in the stock market since I know that they manipulate the stock market anyway, and it's most likely going to go up. I know that it's going to crash pretty soon, but it's like the stock market is something that a lot of men have profited off of financially. So it's like, why would that woman invest in him when she can invest in something that already has a proof of concept? It could be stocks, it could be ETFs, it could be cryptocurrency, it could be real estate. She has so many other places that are more reliable that she could place her $700 into. And that's another question. Why wouldn't the man be strategic enough to figure out how to invest his money so that he can make a $700 profit per month? So it's like this man is so dumb that he can't even make an additional $700 a month. You can make that doing DoorDash, for God's sakes. You can do DoorDash 20 hours a week and make an additional $700 a month. But no, he's too lazy to do that. He just wants a handout. He wants to make the woman into his free welfare system. He wants you to be his free welfare office. He wants you to be his free unemployment office. You're essentially giving him a monthly allowance. You're giving him a monthly salary. Meanwhile, men shame women for doing the same exact thing. But at least those women who are doing the gold digging, a lot of those women are escorts and sex workers. So it actually is a transaction or an exchange. I'm not promoting it, but I'm saying, at least there is some sort of exchange. Whereas in the case of the woman just quote unquote investing, she's investing in this invisible business that doesn't even exist. Not to mention the fact that a lot of relationships require sacrifice. So, this is something a lot of people don't think about. There's a lot of sacrifice that comes with tying your life to someone else. Maybe you have to move to a new city because of his job, which I don't recommend, by the way. I think that a part of decentering men is you keep the same energy. If he wouldn't move to a new city for your job, don't move to a new city for his job. If he doesn't prioritize your career and your dreams and aspirations, don't prioritize his. Also, isn't it interesting that these men are blaming external circumstances for their problems? So basically, because of racism, women are now required to pay $700 per month in reparations in order to make up for the racism he has experienced. So, because he is not on par with a non black man in his own eyes, now you, as the woman, are required to build him up. And by the way, don't think that they're not doing this with non black women as well. This is for the black women watching who date black men. We can tell you in the exotical space, a lot of us who have black fathers and maybe a non black mother, we can tell you that this rhetoric that they're talking about, they keep the same energy with women of other races. There is no such thing as, oh my God, these men are just the dream guy and they're just Prince Charmings and they're protectors and providers. No, I'm sorry to break it to you, but Prince Charming does not exist, whether he's black, white, or any other race. There's no such thing as a perfect man. I don't care what color he is. But what do you ladies think? Would you give a man $700 a month to fund his business with no guarantees of a return? Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.